Okay, so you know how sometimes you catch yourself staring at like 50 unread emails and you're thinking, ugh, there's got to be a better way to wrangle all this information.
Well, tell me about it.
Right. Well, that thought, my friend, is actually the starting point for an entire career path. We're talking about document management officers.
It's funny you should say that because it really is about like the hidden architecture of information, right?
Yeah.
We're practically drowning in data these days.
Hmm.
Document management officers, they're the ones building the systems, the infrastructure that keeps everything flowing smoothly.
And today, we're going to take a deep dive into this often overlooked but seriously important career. And we're doing it with some help from RoleCatcher, a platform that's all about making your job search, well, less of a headache. So what does a document management officer actually do all day? It's got to be more than just like digital filing, right?
Oh, absolutely. Way more dynamic than just shuffling papers around. Think of it as this cool blend of like technical know-how and serious people skills. You're the one managing the electronic systems, things like EROS and EDMS.
Whoa, whoa, hold up a sec. Those acronyms sound a little intense. Can you break those down for us?
Yeah, of course. So ERMS, that stands for Electronic Records Management System, basically it's how organizations keep all their essential documents organized, stored, and trackable. Think contracts, financial records, employee info, you name it all in digital format.
Okay, got it. So it's like the Fort Knox of digital documents.
Exactly. And then there's EDMS, which is the Electronic Document Management System. It's kind of like ERMS's close cousin. EDMS is all about managing how documents move around, from creation and collaboration to getting approvals and eventually the archives.
So instead of digging through dusty file cabinets, you're setting up these digital systems that make everyone's lives easier.
Exactly. And here's the thing, you're not just doing this solo. A huge part of the job is training others on these systems. You become the go-to person, the one who helps colleagues find their way through what could be like a digital document maze.
So it's actually a surprisingly collaborative role.
You got it. And what's really interesting is it even goes beyond internal teams. You might find yourself working with the public, making sure they can access the right documents or that everything's compliant with all the, information regulations out there.
Wow, I hadn't even considered that side of it. So you've got this mix of tech skills, people skills, and you're even public facing. Now, I know what our listeners are thinking. What's the work environment actually like? Are we talking soul-crushing cubicle farms here?
That's a pretty common misconception. It's usually an office environment, sure, but don't picture endless rows of gray cubicles or anything. Remember, you're interacting with different departments, you're training people, you might even be working with the public. Plus, technology is always changing how we work, and this field is right there on the leading edge of that change.
Yeah, okay. So not exactly your grandma's filing room then. There's definitely like a dynamic energy to this kind of work, especially with all the tech advancements. But what about like job security? Is this a career with any staying power, or am I going to be replaced by a robot in 5 years,
Well, that's where things get really interesting. Remember how we were talking about the world like drowning in data? Yeah, that's not going to change anytime soon. If anything, it's only going to get like
Mm.
more intense. And with all these data privacy rules and regulations popping up, the need for people who can wrangle all that information, that need is only going up. In fact, RoleCatcher's data shows that this whole field is set for some serious growth, which is great news if you're all about that job security.
Music to any job seeker's ears, right? But let's be real for a sec. Every job's got its ups and downs. What's the honest truth about being a document management officer? What are the pros and cons?
You're right, no job's perfect, but on the plus side, picture this. You're the one who swoops in and streamlines everything, makes everyone's workday a little bit smoother. You're like the efficiency guru. Plus, there's tons of room to grow in this field. As you gain experience, you can move up, take on more responsibility, maybe even lead your own team someday.
Okay, so you're not just stuck in a corner pushing paper. There's a real chance to like learn, level up, maybe even call the shots down the line.
Exactly. Although, you know what they say, right? With great power comes great responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
You are dealing with a lot of like critical and sensitive information, so there's definitely some weight that comes with that. And yeah, like any job, there might be some days where you're doing a lot of repetitive tasks. But those are the days when you can really appreciate those super organized systems you've put in place and just enjoy the calm within the storm.
Totally. Having those organizational skills would definitely come in handy. But let's say someone's listening to this and they're thinking, okay, this actually sounds kind of cool, but where do I even start? Do I need like a specific degree in document management or something?
Well, you don't need to dig out your old trapper keeper just yet. What RoleCatcher points out is that, yeah, a bachelor's degree is usually the standard starting point, but here's the cool part. There's no one specific major that's an absolute must-have.
So it's less about what you know
Yeah.
and more about like how you learn and adapt. That's a relief.
Totally. Employers in this field, they're really looking for those transferable skills you bring to the table. Think about it. This role is all about active listening, being able to think critically, and having solid customer service jobs. Those are valuable in pretty much any job, right?
So if you're someone who loves problem solving, enjoys helping people out, and can't resist a good spreadsheet, this might just be your dream job. So let's say someone's just starting out and wants to land one of these document management officer positions. What advice would you give them?
First things first, embrace continuous learning. This field is constantly changing and evolving, so staying ahead of the curve with all the new tech and best practices is super important. RoleCatcher actually talks a lot about how valuable things like webinars, online courses, even professional certifications can be.
It's like getting paid to level up your skills, right? I like it. But what else can job seekers do to really stand out in a sea of applicants all going for the same awesome position? It's like, how do you make your resume scream, pick me, right?
Okay, so imagine this. You've got this amazing project you aced, right? Maybe you streamlined a whole process and saved everyone a ton of time, or you created these killer training materials that got rave reviews. Don't let those wins fade into the background noise. Build a professional portfolio. It's like a highlight reel of your career wins.
Okay, yeah, like a resume, but way more exciting. What kind of stuff should people actually include in that?
Think results. Did you implement a new system that saved the company money? Shout about it. Did you organize a chaotic mess into a thing of beauty and efficiency? Put it in the portfolio. It's all about showing, not just telling.
Love it. And speaking of landing that dream job, we got to circle back to our trusty guide, RoleCatcher. Any last nuggets of wisdom from them?
They are all about using the power of AI in your job search. I mean, think about it. Their AI resume analysis tool can actually scan your resume, find areas to improve, and even tweak it to match specific job descriptions. It's like having a personal resume guru in your corner.
Ooh, okay. It's like having a secret weapon for the job market. All right, as we wrap up our deep dive into the world of document management officers, what's the one thing you want our listeners to remember?
You know, in a world that just seems obsessed with generating more and more data, just remember this. Somebody's got to manage it all. Somebody's got to be the architect of order, the champion of efficiency, the guardian of information, and that somebody could be JU.
So if you're looking for a career that's in demand, keeps your brain engaged, and maybe even lets you unleash your inner tech wizard, becoming a document management officer might be the plot twist your career journey needs. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive, and remember, the best way to predict the future is to create it.